How do I get to this page? Let's see. It should be. Why isn't it showing up? Why is this page not showing up? Hold on. I guess we could just use that. Let's put that away and just bring, I guess we're just bringing that there. Okay, there we go. Transition. Okay, cool. That. Where's my Discord? All right. So here's the deal. Let me close a couple things. All right. This game was a game I played like a very, very long time ago. It does not have a character. Instead, it's node based. So let's see if this is a gallery, or do you just click on a couple of these? So each one of these islands, so there's a whole bunch of islands here, right? This game was made like, I don't know, like a long time ago. I think it's currently under development by someone. Someone bought this game from the original developer. Free browser-based, text-based, yeah. So what this game does is you're on this island, right? And each one of these islands is filled with, and you can kind of see it here up in the upper right there. And I love how they use Google search for the site search or for the FAQ. The whole world is node based. So you click on the node and you have to walk, right? And that takes a certain amount of time to walk from one location to the next. And at each location, so here at the Elysian Docks, you can do a number of different things, right? So you could fish, and the time it takes to do this action increases based off how many people are here. So the more popular locations, the longer it is to gather. So as you see on the screen, you have your inventory up there, your character details kind of down below. Here, just like, let me scroll that up, and then you have this chat, an inventory. Then you have, so that's sort of like your general information about your character. Over on the right side, you have these skills. So I mean, this feels a lot like what you see in some of these games that really got their inspiration from. It really feels like they're getting their inspiration from like RuneScape, right? And then in the middle there you have the sort of what is at this particular node, right? So you have up in the city, then you have the players there, you have the dropped items, and then you just have like a picture, right? So this is very simple. I think this would work very well with something like Incarnate, because you could just create maps for the locations. Then you could even have a map like, here, let me pull one up. Let me pull up one of our maps. Okay. So you could still have, I guess, without, imagine for a second, without characters walking around, because I think that's where I'm getting hung up. Having characters walk around and that sort of sprite animation, as opposed to simply having this there and having basically absolutely positioned buttons or something like that. And I'm thinking almost anything you click on would pop either the off canvas or the modal for interaction. It'd be sort of interesting to keep like a permanent sidebar there, so it wasn't too so it wasn't too jarring. So if you had something like, you know, where you do have that incarnate map right there, but then depending on what you clicked on, you have almost like a persistent sidebar or a modal there. I'm not sure. I kind of like, do I have Dura up? Oh, here, let me disable this for a sec. Because I think there can be a lot here that's just like kind of where we were on the path with Dura and Pyroclasm. Hold on just a second. Where is this? Nope. Sorry, let me just, here, in the app. Bum, bum, bum. I have, yeah, let's just show it. So, this may need a refresh. Oh, that's, yeah, there it goes. So I actually took your pulsing code and I put it so when the story is active, when you have the next quest available, it pulses there. I felt like that was a little bit more significant than just the blue dot. So a lot of what we were trying to do here was a node-based adventure where you selected, but your character didn't move. And so also what I was, yeah, certain things here, if you click, just like you did on the party thing, right? You click here and you get a sidebar. So what if, yeah, and eventually I was thinking even some of these guys would have quests, and all the quests would do would trigger the off canvas like that. And that could still work, but instead of you just clicking on a table of data, you're clicking on the NPCs. And then if you take it one step farther of just having, before just clicking and getting that immediate off canvas, you're clicking and your character's having to walk over to that location to interact, right? So we're not too far away from what we wanted. You could still have all these sort of upgrades and purchases. You're just having to wait for your character to walk over. And then the question is just simply getting that little character to animate. And I did this, trying to think what the project was. Let's see if I have it on the computer. It was it Lord of Trash? Sprites? I have something called Sprites. Oh no, Sprites is the resource. Oh, it's Wildcraft. Socket.io Wildcraft. So Socket.io Wildcraft is the backend. Do I have a, well, yeah, Wildcraft Online would be the, okay, yarn serve. Let's see what's here. Oh, I should just open it up in, I should open it up and see what I was doing to get these characters to, so this is, oh yeah, here we go. Wake up, we're low on trash. We need more trash. Are you ready to raid the junkyard? Sweet. Okay, wake up, I guess. What's the name of your character? Trashy, say my name. And then I'm a trash panda, I'm a dumpster bandit, I'm a garbage bard, right? And you click one, and I don't think it's gonna go anywhere because I don't think the Socket.io server is up. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so this was character creation. And then, so what was I doing here? I think whatever I'm doing here, we could do, because this loaded a an incarnate map and then drew animated sprites over the top. Oh, you know what I was doing? You know what I was doing, Kenzie? This is just P5. Yeah. This is just a P5 app. and it worked. Hold on. Yeah, let me open up. There it is. So we could just do, yeah, I want to save. You probably had the server running. No, so the server is running up on Heroku, and that's now been since taken down. Heroku deprecated their stuff. I had the server, the only way the server was running, it's not that the only way the server was running, but the server was running, I guess I could have had it local, but I had it running up on Heroku so that you could actually play multiplayer with other people. I should just bring this over. I should just bring without Socket.io. Here, let me just take a look. Oh yeah, by the way, check this out. Okay, this knows who I am, so hold on. Let me just show you what this looks like. Fuck. I'm trying to do too many things at once. New window. Expeditions. Check this out. And just do this. Okay. See that? And then you can continue with email. Register your account. If you, and this works. This registers it with Firebase authentication. So I'm not using anything other than Firebase authentication. I'm not using their data store or anything, just the authentication service. So we can do email and password, and they store it. So we're not storing anyone's password. But you can also authenticate with Google or Facebook or Guest, anonymous, which I think is really useful. If you already have an account, you can sign in. And then if you, for some reason, have forgotten your password, we have that screen. So all of this is built and working. I haven't tried the continuous guest part. I haven't done that part yet. But let's take a look at this for a sec. Okay, let me just. So we had character creation. Yeah, let me zoom out for a sec and shrink this a little bit that way. So character creation, assuming we had that, then what did I do? I created a map of all the characters. Then I just had a summary of what was going on. Then I just had a list of who the players were that were in the game and the enemy roster. And then the admin panel. And that was it. So what is map? Components, map. Yeah, so look, this is just a P5 script. It is just a P5 script, and then we're passing in the characters. Oh. And hold on. Yeah. Set click, set sprite. So if I'm not mistaken, when you click on the P5, it'll call back out to view. Let's take a look. This is located where? Movement jazz. Here it is. Okay. So there's the whole sprite, get XY, get X position. And this got complicated because this does all the math for my XY position and then where you are relative to me and how we move together. We don't need to necessarily. I'm trying to think. And this was intended to do this real time in Socket.io. I'm trying to think, where did I do that? So we don't need to do that. You could start a single player to allow them to move around. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, see, it's constantly passing out these delegates. This is, oh, you can't see it. Hold on, let me scroll down. These delegate commands, that's it, as passing it from P5 back to view. And once it gets back to view here, this emit set position, set target. So at some point, was I ever using the store? Yeah, maybe. Let's go back out to main for a second. No, let's go here. Yeah, because here's the socket IO integration. There's the socket. And then here's the method. Yep, there it is. Set character. And then set position. So at this point, it's communicating back up to socket IO about where your position is and has it changed? Have you logged on or off? So I'm trying to think. My gut says not to do socket IO, but of course that's going to be the better user experience. That's going to be a real-time game, as opposed to like what Noroth is, which is like a long polling game, right? So every few seconds there's a communication, and the front end will update based off that back end rather than it being real-time. The difficulty is just like I'm not very impressed with how the socket IO stuff is put together for like a large game. Like you want to do like a small game with a little bit of game logic, okay. And that's why like a chat server is fine. And you don't need to necessarily see people move around real time. Though that would be an amazing, right? That would be the like an amazing experience. Like you moving around, especially within the towns. But it's not necessary. No one's going to play the game just because of the movement system. And they're going to want, is the game fun? And if the combat is turn-based, not real-time, right? And if upgrading stuff. I'm going to take this exact pattern for right now, and instead of socket IO right here, we just tie in our REST server. I think that would be enough. That would get you movement. That would get you movement similar to Noroth. It would have the look and feel, and then when you get to an NPC, right, you click. Then I really love triggering like an off canvas instead of like a modal, but maybe a modal. Maybe a modal is better. I think the off canvas can be a little small. I mean, here, let's look at this for a second. By the way, I'm gonna be real honest here. This is why, like with certain things, like why I was able to. What's this? Is this what I want to share? Yeah, you see this? Like I copied this, like not exactly, but pretty close. Like this is the Ironwood RPG, right? Continue with email, sign in, recover your password. Like when I see the example, I can copy and replicate it very quickly. It's like when I sat down to try to copy IQ RPG, when the scope is known, I can rapidly develop, and then do small variants. But that's a wonderful guide. But I'm trying to think here. Now this is IQ RPG, not IQ RPG. This is Ironwood RPG. Now this is okay, but I'm not engaged by this. But a lot of people are. They just passed 10,000 accounts created. It's just like there's not much. It is literally just these menus. I mean, it looks. I kind of like that simple pixel art. It's got that menu on the side, but I think something like Noroth, where you have like a character portrait. Yes, it's Melvor, but this is multiplayer. This is multiplayer Melvor. But I mean, that's it. Like you never. I don't know. It just seems. It's not engaging enough for me. I'll put it that way. For me, it's simply not engaging enough. So I kind of like, if we're going to go this route, we make the interface look like Noroth, right? Your action bar down below. Character portrait up in the corner, right? The only thing I would do different, I would radically do the inventory differently. I absolutely would. There's a game. You know how, okay, so you know how WoW does, and even I think New World does even a better inventory system. But you know, in WoW, when you pick up like quest items, when you find something that you were hunting for a quest, it doesn't go to your inventory, right? It doesn't take up space. I don't want to play the inventory management game. I think there's a time and a place for an inventory to limit what you can bring on a particular adventure. I think that's what it's trying to do. You know, trying to limit how many potions or boosts, how many different, you know, weapons or armor you can bring. But I don't know. But New World seems to have an inventory system that when it is laid out, when you're gathering materials, never appear in the same place as your armor. Like, it's just, think of, and I guess I'm just imagining, I'm trying to reimagine this just through the streams I've watched of New World. But instead of, like, Noroth has everything in one whole inventory. But if you had an inventory that when it kind of opened up and filtered to, like, equipment, you know, potions, gathered like ore, and instead of it being slots, like you can hold a total of, I don't know, like 1,000 gathered things, and so that way you're not playing this inventory management system when the slots don't matter. Whereas with gear and those sort of drops, yes, that is like whatever, 30-40 slots. But yeah, feel free absolutely to mock something up. I think what I want to do right now is I want to get this working, and we'll take it from there, because I think this is pretty cool. I'm trying to figure out what I need to do. I'm just gonna move over this map component and P5 and start with a single player walking around, and then get it to I guess so the game had a monster that you were supposed to click on, and then that would have you start attacking it. So I would use the same logic. That's the set target function. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on just a second. That's the set target. The set target is for fighting. So you would do the same thing for engaging with an NPC. When you click on anything, it would come out of P5 into view, and there you would determine what did you click on and what do we need to do because of it. Are we engaging in combat now, or you want to give me access to the repo? Sure. No. I'll give you access. This is expeditions in Slide Boots. Hold on, let me give you access. Yeah, I just didn't set up because I just started this and was just playing around with it, but it's really coming together. It's actually branched off of Dura, so like the whole Dura project is here. So I'm just going through. Let me see. I'll just give you a little bit of the lay of the land here. Hold on, sorry, let me find OBS. It's really just, here it is. Okay. So this is what it looked like a second ago. Hold on. If we don't have a user, then it loads up the auth view. If we do have a user, I'm going to do game view. And I don't know that we'll even have router views. I don't know that we'll have that. If we load up just the game view and then essentially everything is a modal within that. We may route to other views if you wanted to see like I guess a leaderboard or something. But But anyway, and then in the auth view, I have the auth welcome and the auth email, and this was set up so that if we had more methods beyond email, like the guest or I don't know Google auth, then at some point you do that, and then within auth email, you have 3 smaller components, and there is duplication here, unfortunately. The email registration, email sign-in, and email recovery all share the same like card layout, and I think that's okay for now. But basically, yeah, we're just going in, and I'm just manually going to call certain view. I think I'm just going to do everything in this game view. I'm going to bring P5 directly into this, and start moving around a character, and then I think just set up an NPC, get the logic that we have in Dura for like upgrades to work, trigger the modal, bring over what we were doing for quests, and we could just build a small RPG here. The thing I want to get going though is I want to try to, the big thing here isn't just to make a single player RPG, it's to really try to connect it to the back end. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do. We're actually going to see less logic in the front end, which I think will make this even easier and cleaner, because the state management, or at least like obviously there's some state, but we're, instead of writing these complex actions and mutators, we're just making API calls, and I will write that more complex logic on the PHP side. So, all right, yeah, let me give you access to this. Because I think rather than go the Ironwood route and have everything in menus, I think we'll do something closer to North and just make an RPG. One thing I do want to say, I definitely want to keep the idle aspect to this, so I do want all gathering to be related to idle. So the character moving around, I think combat and crafting should be real time. Gathering, I want you to have some familiar or some assistant or some whatever that you can just set, oh, he's doing this or that or whatever. And that's always gathering for you. I think because I want you to feel like you can, like you don't have to actively, companions. I don't want you to feel like you have to actively play, or that there's no place for idle or AFK players. I think the resources, the raw resources coming into the game will be from the idle players, and then I think crafting and combat will be from active play. But unlike Noroth or even Queslar, I don't want crafting to just be like, oh, I'm crafting like 100 things or 1,000 things, destroying 99% of it and keeping one. I want it more like Lost Ark, where you are essentially trying to upgrade a certain piece of equipment, and this isn't pay to win, so we don't need to do like as brutal failure rates, but you're basically taking those resources, refining those resources, and just trying to apply and upgrade to one of your items. And I think it would be good if we had enough variance. Like one thing that obviously that worked in New World, some of these gems or some of these skills, the skill books for them, some of them sold for like 10x what others would. And I kind of like that there would be like 2 tiers of skills, right? Obviously the best of the best would be expensive because your character can only equip like so many skills or gems in their slots. So some players are going to want the absolute best, and some people will be fine with that second tier of whatever because it's still good. It's just not great, but it's much more affordable. But anyway, all these things are just we're applying raw resources to upgrade a particular piece of equipment. And I like watching a lot of WoW streams, watching those drops. There's definitely a place for like unique, specific named gear. but I think the crafting system should be something more along the lines of like gems or other more like generic enhancements. Thus, then you leave the like what I really like about WoW, as opposed to North or some of the other games I've played in the past, where you have a ton of junk drops, right? No one's really caring about these particular drops, and they just fill up your inventory. I want you to get the sense that like every item in your inventory is a good item. This is what I really love about IQ. Anytime you get something good that's not like anytime you get a drop in IQ, it's a cool thing. There is no junk drop in IQ. Everything is usable. Everything has value in IQ. And I think I want the same sort of feeling. Like you defeat a boss, or you just fight mobs. Like, and here's the thing: you can fight mobs for essentially ingredients that you would use for an upgrade, right? But you're not fighting for like a bunch of swords that are just trash, just because we were supposed to drop something, and then you're gonna go vendor mod. That's just a waste. It's just a waste of everyone's time. You can have somewhere in that drop table is a low chance for a really good sword, and I really like the way WoW has it, where on this particular mob, this is their drop table, and you have there's a chance for that, and you if you wanted to, you could grind on that particular mob for that one really good weapon. I kind of like that, where in WoW, like when I'm playing, every now and then as I'm just hunting mobs, I'll come across like a green, right, whatever that is, an uncommon or whatever, and sometimes it's okay, right? Obviously the quest gives blues or better, but anyway, yeah, so we'll give this a chance. Yeah, if you want to do a mock-up, cool. I think the logo looks fantastic, and I'll go ahead and bring in P5 and get the pixels moving around, and then we'll just get the same basic, just like click a button, perform some logic. But what I want to try to do is get that logic to ping to the server and record the state in the database for that particular upgrade or whatever. And once we're in there, then we're in business of a multiplayer game. So, but yeah, I like the idea if you just wanted to come and idle, there's a place where you could set up a character and just have it idle and sell that stuff on the marketplace. I think that's awesome. And then for the people that want to every now and then play a little more, we have active gameplay, and eventually it'd be cool if we had something that was integrated with Socket.io, so you could do something a little bit more real time for people that wanted to play with other people real time. But again, at that point, you have to have a player base of several hundred just to make sure there's enough players. So, okay, let me get you access to this, and then I'm just gonna code a little bit. Nope, that's not what I want. Let's pop that open. Expeditions. It's fun seeing the pre-release for Dragonlance. Add people. I've never played WoW when a release is coming out, so it's pretty cool to see how the world's changing and everything like that. But I really think the Noroth maps, I think Noroth got really lucky when they found Incarnate, because it brings the art level up hugely. Like the thing I pay for every month, and a lot of these other games that make sprite tile sets, is it takes quite a while to make a pixel world. But in Incarnate, it's just a stamp program, and that comes together, like those projects come together, like those maps come together so quickly. and they're so well done. Hold on just a second. So yeah, I think the fact that they're using it for this purpose for a real-time game is definitely okay. You've been invited to the expeditions repo. Okay. And now let's see, what are we on? Hold on, is this showing? Yeah, this is showing expeditions. So what I wanted to do was, okay, I want to grab map, and we're just gonna grab this expeditions. Okay, I guess in game view I'm gonna need a map component. Copy. New folder. I guess I'm gonna call this game because it pertains to the game view. I'm gonna paste in my map component, and I'm gonna look at what my previous package JSON had. And I think it just had, oh, it had socket.io, but also P5. I think I'm just gonna do P5. Let me think, do I need any of this other stuff? No. Okay, P5 it is. And we'll bring it in and we'll put it in our package.json. And the cool thing too is because we're building off of Dura, this has all the mobile friendly stuff. This should still work on mobile, right? We're still building a mobile friendly app here. Let me go ahead and yarn install this. Let me close some of these other windows. There you go. Okay. Okay, we'll quit Slack. But yeah, I think, you know, whatever. So here, hold on. I just heard, well, not heard, it was announced in Noroth. The Noroth expeditions just got delayed. The developer apparently has too many what ifs. He hasn't finished designing this thing, which obviously I'm not going to make any comment about that because obviously glass houses, right? But what the reason I'm bringing it up is it's an opportunity here, right? To get something like this out before then. Map. Oh, I need to yarn install. But yeah, if you look at the pirates and ships and stuff in Incarnate, there's a lot of options there, and I'm sure in our art and pixel stuff, there's some pirate themed things. Okay. What I want to try to do is, hold on, do I not have a split screen? I do, hold on. Capture that and then capture. Cool. Hold on. Trying to. There we go. And I guess what I want to do is a lot of this stuff has to go away because we are not I don't want to show my credentials on screen. There we go. Cool. And hold on, obviously we're not Dura, but we're still showing that component. And then, okay, let's get this working. Oh, I need a Dura map to bring in. Whoops. Reopen close tab. Reopen another close tab. There we go. Incarnate. Let's grab a map, shall we? Oh, by the way, like, yeah, okay. This is cool. I love, so Kenzie, these right here that you made, that was like the nodes. What Carl is doing with Labyrinth, I realized these nodes and a combat system that was like you have to, you know, you're fighting, clearing this room and then going to the next room. Like, if that was visualized like this, that would be awesome. Like, I think that would be incredible. Okay, you got that, you got this. I really like, hold on. Let me see. Let's see. Did you do this one? You must have. I don't remember doing this. Yeah, look at that. You put the torches up there. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. What I like about this. Yeah, it's very easy to, like, I can imagine yeah, kind of spawning some mobs and stuff in that. And then this one I think I did. Or did you do this? You used the bridge. I didn't usually use the bridge. I think this is you again. Yeah. This is fantastic. Fuck. So one thing I will say, no, this is good. You should look at the, I'll share some Nora maps with you. The detail, I realized what was really making it pop is he was taking like the rocks and the boulders and the shrubs and shrinking them real tiny to look like smaller weeds and pebbles, and then lining the paths with those or whatever. Or like, yeah, kind of like what you're doing here, like putting a collection of rocks like that sort of detail. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm trying to think. This one looks good. I love what's going on here, right? This one feels like a good adventure map of having to like navigate your character all around there. That's awesome. Yeah. One of the, well, not difficult things, one of the things that you eventually have to do is figure out kind of the scale of these maps. So like, how big is the character and how big is everything else? Oh, I did this one. I did these two. Oh, and that one. Yeah, I did those three. I think I really like, let's do this one. Let's do the Desolate Baron, because you've got a spot right in the middle there that would be perfect for NPCs. But then also afterwards you could do something with like enemies, right outside the camp. But I actually like this. You have the closest thing we have to a town right now. one of the things I did, because my maps were designed not to be like what you see in Noroth is he's really spaced the buildings apart so that your character can walk between them, and this is what I was experimenting with here. If you could see that, but like this one down here, this dig site, it doesn't work. The buildings are too. I feel like they're too close together. You can't really walk between them in the isometric. The top-down version is good. This is also the map I was playing around with for Dura. This idea of there's an inn right here before the mountains. This is the map. This is actually the game map for Wildcraft. Again, the top-down, so you don't have to worry about the isometric walking. But that'll be something we got to keep in mind, just spacing it out. So let's grab this one. It's a big map. It's a big map. Save and export. And I think we just throw, we've already got, let's see, we've already got the P5 thing should already have, oh, I need to bring the other thing, hold on. Where's my movement? Let me JS movement. And let me just copy that and bring that over. I guess that's in just a folder called JS. Oh, I'm gonna put it in helpers. Or maybe helpers is more for mix-ins. Here, I'll just copy the whole folder. That'll be fine. Paste. All right. And has this got everything I was doing for? It's got characters, enemies. It's got the constructor. Can you hold on? Let me see this. Oh, one's in front. Sorry, this is in front of the whole thing. There you go. It's got the character. It's got the animation. Okay, and then this was the animation. And then you're loading the animation. Where are we loading the animation? Right here. Oh, and this is from the fucking spreadsheet. Where's the... Let me find, where's my asset list? Assets. Oh, there's that raccoon, funny. So these are 4, and then... Okay, let's copy those and bring those over. Source assets. Did I just have it in the assets folder? Okay, we'll just put it there. Paste. Did I not have a character? I guess I just used the Black Knight as the enemy. Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll use like the golden one as your character. One of these gray ones as an NPC. And the green is the enemy, or green is the NPC. There we go. Oh, I just need to get your... Okay, Desolate Barrens. Copy. And then I guess in the original game it had the... Where did it have the art? Like, how did it know where the background... Oh, did it have it in the fucking public folder? Yep, this isn't great. Okay, this is in the public folder. Shoot. That's okay. That's weird. And then battle.png was there. Is that what? Yeah, that's what it is. All right. I need to. Oh. It's because. Okay. I'm going to need to talk with some folks to get P5 to load the assets. That's fine. So for right now, the public folder is where the assets are being stored. Let's at least make a folder in there. New folder. Assets. And we paste it in there. Okay. And then eventually it'll get... There we go. Copy. VLAN finder. I'm going to figure this stuff out. There you go. Okay, there's our desolate barren. And I guess we put the knights also into that assets folder. Move. And we have all that stuff. Okay. Okay. So if we go here now, we go to our game view. Let's bring in the map. Okay. Excuse me. This map won't know what to draw, but import map from components, and then I guess it's just game map. Cool. And then in components we put map. Got some windows. Okay. Let me show you that. Okay. Does not match with the corresponding. Let's see what's going on. We're gonna close Wildcraft. We're done with Wildcraft. Let's look at some expedition stuff. Components. This is going to be game view. And we're not talking to there yet, and we're not talking to any methods yet. Let's just get this thing to load, shall we? Let's not have any data yet. In fact, let's not have data at all. Map. Game map. Oh, it's capital M. Alright. Alright. Now let's go back to app view, and let's just for now, let's just hide that. Oh, look, it's trying to load. This is exciting. This is exciting. Okay, ready? This brings me back to some Unity days. This is pretty cool. Okay. So the game view is there. I'll leave that. Now we'll go to the game view, and so we'll get rid of the word map. You don't need that. But we do need, why isn't map loading? Let's go into map. It's a P5 canvas. We have map, we have movement. Let's pop open our console. And I think it's probably because, yeah, it doesn't know the night. Oh, the night JSON. Shoot. Let me open up that project again. This is a little bit a pain in the ass, but this was the proper way to do it. Here it is. Yeah, this is what I need. Copy. Here, let me show you this, Kenzie. This is what I was trying to. I had mentioned this before, but never showed you. This right here is what's called like a sprite map. A sprite map. I mean this. Okay, so this is a sprite map, right? It's all the sprites laid out on one file, and the wonderful thing about this is it's incredibly efficient. With good websites that really, web developers that really know what they're doing, they'll put all their UI elements, all their graphical elements on one big image called a sprite map. And then in your CSS, you say, hey, I want this and that and this and whatever. So if you imagine like, because then you're just making, your website's making just one request for an image, and then all the icons or gradients or logos or whatever are going, to different places, and it's all controlled by the CSS. So that's what we're going to do here. We have all the interstitial sprites for how they're walking, they're turning. I want to point out we even have better art than Noroth, obviously because it's really well professionally done. But we have the up and down, left and right, as opposed to just left, right. Like he's paying for one piece of art and then just flipping it, right? So we can get both directions, which makes sense. But it's also going to be cool. Ours are going to look like they're walking up and down as well. But then what you need is something like this that says, and this unfortunately is a little bit annoying, but you need to say, hey, each frame of the animation, where can I find it and how big is it? Right? So that's what this does. The P5, I have a function in there that loads this JSON file and iterates through it and cuts each piece out of the sprite map, each frame out of the sprite map, and saves it, and then it loops that animation, so you get that nice walking animation. Okay, so so let's refresh that. We should now be able to see night JSON. P5 man, hold on, it's night JSON is there. Oh, it's in assets. Yes, hold on. Let me clear away some of these extra. I need to get to just map. Sorry, I need to get to movement. Here we go. Now let's just get this thing to load. Where is it? Here we go. Assets. And let's call this, it's not bad. I guess we could rename it. It's Desolate Barren. Hold on, rename. Yeah, there we go. Desolate Barren, and it's a JPEG. Okay, let's refresh and see where we are. It cannot find down. What does that mean? Cannot read property of undefined down. Let's see, find down. The sprite data, can't load the sprite data. Is it because I put it in this assets folder? What if I do start with a slash? Here, let's do this. Sprite. data. Let's see if we have, if it's actually loading. No, it's not loading it. Night.json assets, public assets, night.json. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this now that I've broken it. Let's put it just back as if it was all in the root. Let's just try this. If it was in the root of the folder. Nope, still failing the same thing. Okay. Let's figure this out. At movement.js line 194, right here. Sprite data, load animations. Okay, load animations. But see, this is what I'm curious about. It's not finding this. Night. Okay. You know what? You know what I just really here. Let me try this. I guess let me try to end the, maybe do the yarn restart. Maybe that has something to do with it. Okay, it's almost there. Let's see if we can get rid of these errors. No, it's still suffering from the same thing. Movement, it's not loading. What? Okay, I'm gonna late at night. Late at night is not the best time to debug some of this stuff. It's good for some creative thoughts, but not the best. Okay, hold on, night 4. Let's go ahead and not worry about the enemy. We are not, apparently it is not loading the night JSON. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can see this debug here of 232 is coming in as a blank. I guess we're going back to Wildcraft for a second. Let me see what's happening here. So night JSON was only ever declared in one place, right? And that was in the public folder, right? Okay. That's not, I'm just checking. It's not in the data folder, okay? Just looking. Okay. Is the, here, let's look at network. Click. Refresh. So you see that, look, it's loaded. Look, there it is, the bandit, the bard, the panda, the night 4. So the fetch for night JSON does go out and the asset is found and loaded. But, okay. Am I not, hold on, map. Method, set target, set click, watch, hold on. Mounted, you set delegate, set sprite, this dot sprite. Oh, hold on. Let's take a look. Okay, no, this sprite is a prop. I need to specify what the sprite is, don't I? I need to probably do something like this so we have a default here. Type string default, like night 1. Is that what it needs? Oh, that was almost different. I think we're still stuck on the same area because it's coming in as, oh, look at that. Hold on. Yeah, night times 2. Oh, that's the bigger one. Yeah, night times 1 and then night times 2. I think I'm on the right track, but I'm also a little bit like, excuse me. We just pulled this out of Wildcraft and then just pasted it in here. So main preload, and then this is empty. Cannot read of property down. Hold on, let's find this line to 194. Let's go to 194 here for a second. 194 is called load animations. So where's load animations from? It's right here, and that's during the setup. Here, you know what? Let's not bother with animations for a second. Let's not. Let's just load the image on the back. My sprite is assigned whenever you hold on. Oh no, did my mouse just finally die? Okay, we'll plug it in for a second. Okay. My sprite. Let's see if this works. Oh, no. My sprite is assigned a value but never used. Oh my god, fine. Fine. Where was the line I just commented out? Here? I'm just going to console log it. That counts. There. You win. Hush. Stop with your yelling. Load me my form. Character get x is not a function. Okay, so now we're, oh, and you have to create the, so hold on. And that's movement 254. Oh, to draw the character. Let's not worry about drawing the character. Let's not worry about drawing the enemies. Let's not worry about drawing all the other characters. So yeah, let's just freaking get the, there we go. There we go. There it is. This is like one of those weird things where like as a programmer you're excited that like the pixel turned green or something like that, right? You're like, we got the image to appear on the screen, right? It's hard to, okay, cool. Hey. Right? Like, there was a lot of effort just to make that one map appear. Now, granted, this is because I grabbed it out of a Socket.io game, right? Where it was all working. And now we're going to put this into a PHP REST game. Ugh. All right. But what should be really cool, do we have, so the way this game was working, is that it moved, did it move based off of clicking on the screen, not by arrow keys? I'm trying to see. I don't think I did arrow keys. Oh, there it is. There it is. You see that is commented out. I guess I did. Should we see what happens when I do this? Okay, nothing. Huh. Load animation, so we're not loading. What I'd like to see is just a pan of the, okay. Ooh. we're gonna make this, and it's gonna be fucking amazing. The one thing Noroth has is it has a grid over the game. And when they load a new map, it's each grid square is filled with a dot. And they go around and they eat the dot. And that is how you determine which grid square on the game can be walkable or not. Right? Somewhere in that code is what's called pathfinding, which is the bit of logic I literally have. Okay, so pathfinding is when you click from, if your character is on one square and you click somewhere else on the map, there's a bit of logic that figures out what is the best path from where you are to where you want to go, right? The shortest path to do. That's called pathfinding. We're going to have to write that. And I've written that before. There's some really interesting libraries. There's a great pattern called it's A asterisk. There's a way, especially in grid games, it's pretty easy. In non-grid games, things like other like sort of RTSs, real-time strategies and stuff like that, you'll have like a line of sight and like a node-based system, which are pretty cool, which calculates a lot of different possibilities for characters to move. So when you think about a game of like StarCraft or Diablo, all the different places your character could go, right? And then think about like Noroth or a game like this where there are a whole 4 or 5 magnitude less options because we're just dealing with grids. So it's not nearly as complicated, but we're going to need to write that so your character can know how to walk around the obstacles on the map. This is how I'm a little nostalgic, a little sentimental about some of my stuff. I have my game dev notebooks from like 20 years ago. My first published iPhone game was a game called Waddlefield. It was a turn-based, tile-based game with farm animals that fought each other. And I had a piece of grid. I had a piece of what do you call that stuff? It's graph paper. I had a piece of graph paper colored with ink, where I had figured out just the logic of how I was going to do pathfinding, and I had it taped. At the time, I had an iMac, right, a desktop Mac, and it had at the bottom of the Mac is a big silver bar below the monitor, and I taped it there, and it was there for like 3 or 4 years. And I still have, I even though it's just this little piece of paper like this, I still have it somewhere. I haven't thrown it away. Every map that game uses has almost like a corresponding grid square. I draw them all out like that. Anyway, let's get this. Let's see if this mouse is charged enough now. Let's get this one to rotate. So this one just loads the background. I'm never translating this background. Okay. That's not great. This game assumes that once the map loads, you don't need to ever reload, and that's not right anymore. We need something that's gonna translate the map. Let me see. Set position. Let me think. What were we doing here? Mouse pressed. Character show. Oh, here it is. P5 translate. There it is. Oh, but you were translating the. Okay, so a good. Oh, there it is. So a good way to think about this. Noroth now is very different. Noroth now. Okay, so Noroth, what it was 6 months ago. Your character was always at the center of the screen, and everything else essentially moved around your character, right? which is essentially what we want to do in our game. Our character is always the center of the screen. I don't like the new layout of North that you can kind of drag the whole map. I don't think people want to do that. I think you lose your character, whatever. It's every other game puts your character directly in front of you, and I think that's the way it should be. So, I guess what we want to do is without. Okay, so we were able to draw the map. That's cool. Oh, and I guess this is the 0, 0. Okay, enemy show, enemy. Let's try to figure out why it's not loading. So, oh, what's that? Preload, and then it's empty, and it says night 1. Why does it say night 1? Oh, because that's the title of my sprite. Let's look at night.json for a second. Oh, I've banned it. It's got bandit. What is it? Bandit. Oh, because this in panda, this was the let's call it panda. Let's see if it shows up if I do panda. No, it's not loading. Why isn't it loading? I guess we're gonna have to look. Let's just look one more time back at the other project. But you know, it's been like a year, and Noroth has only introduced like 1 or 2 more quests. Rinzai, you know how fast we could add content in like a JSON structure, right? Like this was one of the quests. Like here, I'll show you. This is the quest structure that I was putting into Dura. Hold on, story, right? Where each, right, it's just a series. And you could have objectives, an array of objectives, and an array of rewards. Like, there's no reason why putting quests in the game need to be harder than this. If it's harder than this, you're doing something wrong, right? Something's wrong if after a year you can't write quests for your game, especially if it's a role-play game. Like, quests and storytelling are the whole reason why you're doing that particular type of game in that genre. Okay, so maps. Oh, okay, look at this. Did I screw something up here? Other characters, enemies, my characters. That was the sprite. Trying to see if I missed anything. I think, yeah, and I think the moment, I don't think it's going to be that difficult to overcome, to replace, I don't think it's going to be that hard to reach the level of what a lot of people like about Noroth. I think it'll be quite easy to reach that level. And then there's a bunch of systems beyond that, the gathering and crafting systems that I don't think we're going to have to reproduce because I don't really think people like those systems. So we don't need to remake that. The inventory system or the dragging system or anything like that. Like, no one likes that. One of the very first things I see almost every single character ask in Noroth is, what does it mean to be light or dark? Right? And because it's not well explained. And I think one of the important things we want to do in this game is asking someone to be good or evil or choose a faction before they've started your game. That's like asking someone to choose a political party without any context, right? Do you want to be a Democrat? Do you want to be Republican? By the way, I'm not going to explain what either of those two things mean in the grand scheme of the game. I think you should let people play and let people socialize however they're going to be. and at some point in the course of playing the game that there becomes a point where someone has to choose a faction, so be it. But let them play the game first. Don't ask them this stuff right out the gate. So that's my take on it. Let's see. Gosh, this is just nuts because it is actually loading. Look, I mean you can see that the network call for night.json is right there. Here, preserve log, let's refresh. It's right there. And then, but it's not there. What am I doing wrong? Oh my god. I bet I missed it. Hold on. Was there something in... Is there something I missed somewhere else with P5? I'm bringing it into the Wildcraft project. Map, movement 2, shoot. Let's see what version of P5 I actually have at the moment. P5 is 1.4.1. But I think at the end of the day, if you respect people's time and feel like you let them feel like their character is progressing, I think that'll go a long way. Oh, okay, hold on. You posted a mock-up in the thing. I didn't see this. Okay. Yeah. I see that now. Yeah. I think what we'll do though, just like what is it, black text around? A black border around white text. I think we'll want to give this. I like the gradient. I think the gradient gives it a nice feel. I think we'll want to give the pop-up a bit of a white border so it really stands out, or a black border so it stands out against the map. I like the structure of the WoW quest and dialogue modal. You can't move it, right? Like it's always in the same place and you can't move it. Oh, you guys can't see this. I'm not sharing it. Copy. Can I do it here? Okay. Nope. So this is what Rinzai is proposing. I like the upper thing. Instead of a red border around the portrait, I'd do something like white or something like that, white or black to really just make sure it doesn't get lost there. But I do love the circular portrait. I like the Rinzai. I like the level 1. North does the health bar up there, but and so does WoW. I don't think it's going to be that important. I think the health bar is only going to be relevant. Well, I mean, I guess if you're wandering around, maybe doing random encounters, it's important to know how much health you have. But if we do something down, if we put the controls or the menus in the action, like the hot bars down there at the bottom center, maybe you have your health bar there. Yeah, we could just didn't get that. Yeah, no, I get it. So Can you see this? All right. Okay, that's when it's all open. This, right? When it's open on the screen there. Oh no, that's a YouTube video. I don't want to do that. Stop. So I like this. Right? Can you see this? Where it has like a summary, the title, the summary, the description. That allows for a little bit of lore. This is even maybe a better one. And then you have like rewards. So the thing you have to do is up there at the top, right? Here, let's see what this is. Yeah, the thing you have to do, right? The most important information that someone playing the game wants to see is what they have to do for the quest. Below that is the optional lore that many people don't take the time to read. So as long as you read the first 2 sentences, you understand what you have to do in the game. And then you get into your optional lore part, and then is the very obvious, this is the reward, right? Yeah. I think if you lay it out like that, like if you go to, I don't have the Dura open, but you saw that, like, I don't know what that means. Whoa, what happened? Cool, with a party of 56. Cool. Awesome, welcome. We are talking about some browser-based RPGs. Camera a little out of focus. Oh, yeah, sorry, let me get that focused. But I think, oh yeah, that is out of focus, my bad. So awesome. So I think if you make the interface look a little bit like World of Warcraft, where at least the information, right? This is my objective, an optional story, and then the reward. I think that'll look good. And then down there, right, if you're using the card footer, where you can put, like, you can accept the quest or reject it, right? And I think, but I love the fact that, like, the left hand of the screen just dedicated to that. I think also as you go down to mobile, right, and we already have this working well on mobile, so you can go and get the quest, talk to the NPC, and I think that'll be great. Okay, there's a lot of people here. Hey everyone. We're just a couple of indie devs working on some. Oh my god, did it go fuzz again? We're just a couple of devs working on some indie games here. If anyone's curious, feel free to click the link above me. That's the link to our website. It's got our Discord and stuff like that. These are completely free. We're working on completely free online browser-based and mobile-based games. No microtransactions. No pay-to-win. No ads. No third-party analytics tracking you. Just free games. We're really trying to have a player really enjoy their experience, especially in sort of like an idle, incremental, or role-play game. And when you open up the game, you don't have to worry about oh, is this, what's it gonna cost me to play this game? That, sorry, it's a bit tired. Allow yourself to immerse into one of the stories we're creating, one of the worlds we're creating, and not worry about at some point there's going to be some sort of progression. How do you make money? So if you go to the website, it explains it. I'm trying to do this based off Patreon, right? Where if we can put good quality games out there, people would like to pay for support. Now, I'm not ruling out in the future necessarily, like, if there was a particular expansion or something like that, maybe we'd want to, maybe that would come with a one-time fee, or maybe there would be something like a battle pass or a subscription. I'm trying to stay away from that. I'd love to put out free games that just have no monetization in them at all, and instead encourage people to fund the studio itself through Patreon. So we could put out a bunch of free, good quality mobile and web role play, incremental, and idle games that don't have any pay to win aspects. It's just a bit of an experiment to see how we can do this and compete, or rather, compete against the folks that are taking a more a more pay to win angle in this genre. So, Patreon, is this a day job or a side project? This is a side project for now, and I'm hoping to grow it into the day job. I do something, myself and Rinzai, my partner here at Slyboat Studio, we both do something very similar to making games for our day jobs. But really this is just sort of an experiment to see both, can we make these games that people enjoy and not include pay to win. If it ends up working out great, and this is where something like a Kickstarter or something would also be great. If we can put out a game or two completely for free, then maybe the likelihood of a Kickstarter for the next couple games would be likely, because we've proven we can ship games, they're for free, enjoy them, but the studio does need some amount of income to support this ongoing effort. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the raid. This is pretty cool. So thanks, and thanks for the questions. If anyone's curious, feel free. There's the slyboots.studio. Follow this channel. I usually stream game development, coding, but also a lot of game design. Some of my streams I end up uploading to YouTube. That link as well is on the Twitch and the website, where I talk about certain game design things, player motivations, mechanics, stuff like that. I used to do commercial game dev. Wish I could release something indie, but feel very put off by overcrowding these days, so I just code for myself now. That's essentially where I'm at. I used to do game dev back in the day. Then I worked front end, or actually full stack, but I worked in the marketing department of a software company, and that was a really interesting experience with a whole bunch of other challenges. Now I work for a university where I make simulations, and this is where I work with Rinzai, where I make simulations and activities for online college courses. So things that are very similar to games, right? And this is where we're using languages like Vue.js, P5, 3JS, and so what we decided was, I've participated every now and then in Ludum Dare and hackathons. I try to host a hackathon at our university for our web team 3-4 times a year. But I wanted to try my hand at returning back to game development. I did some game development way back in the day when Facebook games was first taking off. So this is like 12 to 15 years ago, where I was making browser games, and now I'd like to go back there with obviously a much more updated tech stack. Stable diffusion for assets is interesting. Might change over to a space and indie games. Wish there was a way I could code something someone else would benefit from. So one of the things I've done over the last year, and I've really come to enjoy, is I play a lot of browser games, idle games, so I can work, like as I'm working, these idle incremental games, right? And these are multiplayer, and they're nice, but they're pretty basic. And one of the things I've done is I've created a couple of guide sites for the games that I enjoy, and I also do some calculators for the players, as well as some player scripts, some add-ons to enhance, because a lot of these games just have a single dev doing the whole thing, and there's a lot of quality of life enhancements that I like to put on there, or rather, there's a lot of quality of life enhancements that can be added to the game, and I can find that I can lend my talent to the community by just offering these scripts, these calculators, to better explain some of these complex concepts that are in the games. And so that's been really exciting. That's been really cool. It really helps me understand the mechanics and understand the mentality of players that are really enjoying this genre of game. So that goes to the like giving back to someone else's benefit. It's really been enjoyable to knock out like a calculator for one of these games, or like how much would it cost to upgrade this particular item to this particular level and stuff like that. Got so many unscratched itches from back in the day. Just sounded too bitter to play anyone else's game post 2000. I had a foray recently in a browser. This idea you can publish instantly. Yep. Current projects run in the browser. So Peach approached me with a startup. They ended up irritating me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like if you click, takes 5 seconds to load. Doesn't matter if the game was. Yeah. So this is why with Slyboot Studio I wanted to try a different approach. I wanted not to just be alone in this venture, because I too have a plethora of GitHub repositories, side projects, games that are like a quarter done, half done, that have just been there for, accumulating over the last 10 years. And instead, I'm finding it very helpful to work with 2 or 3 other developers. So as my motivation starts to dip, someone else is keeping that going, and then I get more motivation based off of what they're doing. So like, just even today, just sharing my thoughts with Rinzai, and now we have a new logo for one of the games we're working on, a new loading screen. We have some maps here. We're working on the potential like the NPC questing system. So that's real life things come up all the time. Stuff with kids, you get sick, you get busy at work, and then all of a sudden you put off a project for a day, a week, a month, and then you never pick it back up again. So one of the things I'm really trying to overcome is this struggle that I've had, that I see other people have as well, but the struggle I've had over the years of how do you stop the game from puttering out? How do you stop the game dev from dying out? And especially in the PBBG genre, right? The persistent browser games. Most of these games are done by just a single developer, so they're all at risk for that. Someone gets a new job and now they're too busy to develop their game. Someone gets sick, someone moves, someone whatever. And so how do we not put players at risk by having a whole game that they enjoy and put years of their time into from being basically not supported, not further developed, but also getting the game developed. Doesn't have to be some big epic. Yeah, Stable Diffusion has me quite fired up. I can do the kind of art, in 16-bit days and enhance it. Not sure if it'll fix the overcrowding. It is pretty overcrowded, and I think one of the big challenges is just really trying to communicate that if you've got a particular story to tell, if you've got a particular thing that you want to put out there that you're passionate about, the genre may be overcrowded, but I do believe that if you're passionate about telling your particular game, and or passionate about telling your particular story or whatever you want to put out there, I think there is an opportunity for you. I think players, especially for indie developers, players really appreciate authenticity and honesty. And there's a lot of game studios or games out there where you click the link to like the studio and it's like a faceless, LLC or something like that. You don't see who they are. You can't feel the passion behind that game. They're just putting it out there for the microtransactions or something like that. So I guess that's what I tell myself to get through the overcrowding issue. Like, yes, there's a lot of games. Yes, these games that we're working on, they'll publish the web and they'll publish the mobile because I want to get them exposure. And Again, it's a bit of an experiment. I'm just hoping. We'll see how this goes. I really don't have. I'm not holding tight to any. Like, I have no strong convictions on how this is going to go. It's just a shot in the dark. We're just going to see how this experiment plays out. But I've got a hypothesis that if I can get it out there, if we at Slyboot Studios can get these things out there, hopefully in this time when all you see is games like, I don't know, like, and obviously this isn't competing with Lost Ark or Diablo Immortal, but it is competing with games that the moment you open them up, it is just a leaderboard and a pay-to-win store, right? And I'm not necessarily saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'd like to offer an alternative. I'd like to give folks an RPG or an incremental that they don't have to worry, right? That at some point in the game, it's going to ask them for their money, and then ask them for the money, and then ask them for the money. And instead, you can just enjoy opening up that app and knowing you're going to have a good time. So, simple games written from the engine up. Yeah. It's more interesting in engines than games. Oh, sure. Yeah. Engines are pretty interesting too, yeah. But I'm hoping for small experiences that can connect each other and low friction, no download, that make more sense of it, yeah. That's one of the things I really enjoy about doing the web games, is they're very easy to get to. Publishing to the App Store is really just sort of an experiment for Rinzai and I, just to go through that publishing process and just appearing in the App Store. But the same game would be available on the web and mobile friendly. We're using Bootstrap for a lot of our UI, and so it works just fine. The way we're doing this for the mobile. If anyone has something I could be coding out in games for myself, I'm all ears. AI is super interesting in the hardware data arms race. It's been really interesting watching the PBBG community kind of experiment with AI, especially with the AI generated art. I think that's going to be pretty interesting, because a lot of these games don't have art assets, because art assets are incredibly expensive for games. And most online web games done by indie developers are usually done by a coder, a programmer who has an idea. Not too often do you see someone start with, hey, I'm an artist and I want to get into game dev. It's more like, I'm a coder and so I wanted to get into game dev. Or you have a design, like a systems designer, and say, hey, and then they usually dip into programming versus like the 3D modeling. So it'll be interesting to see how the AI generated game assets will help what has been traditionally just text-based interfaces kind of come to life more, because there's the PBG Discord, and they've posted some of their experiments with the AI imagery, and it looks really cool. One thing I did switch from C++ to Rust. Love my projects done by years, but I figured to give new language mind share. I've worked on C++ to do like mud development. I was an admin of a mud for a long time, and it's still sort of around. It's still sort of getting tinkered with. So that was good to know C++, and that was a lot of fun. That's given me a lot of inspiration, because I played a mud from when I was like 11 to even now, so it's like 20, 25 years. But I hear good things about Rust too. To this day, things generally get done faster in C++. Yep. Need for Rust in C++. Needs a cleaner alternative. Yeah. I've done quite a bit of Unity development too, and that was C#, and so it was good to. I picked up that real quick just because of my C++ background. So that was really good. Migrating is an uphill struggle. Yeah. Attempting to find tangential benefits from a personal game dev project. Force myself to try something new along the way. I have tried really hard not to be a stick in the mud about technologies that I know, and not learning new ones. I learned a while ago at one of the jobs I had, probably like, I guess this was about 12 years ago. I don't usually go for the new or the shiny. I like to use libraries and tools that have really been used by thousands of other developers. I think there's a great deal of a benefit to a developer when you know whatever tool you're looking into is going to have solid documentation, has decent market share, has many questions and answers on Stack Overflow. There's nothing quite as frustrating as when you've encountered a problem that Google doesn't have the answer for because the library you're using is too new. And so I try not to chase the cutting edge of anything. I'm not interested in using the cutting edge of anything because I think at the end of the day, if I'm making a game, my players don't care if I'm using the latest and greatest of this particular library or that particular library. What they want to see is a good quality game. They want to have a good time. And if I can provide that, I feel I can provide that more. I'm more likely to provide that if I can use libraries and technologies that Google has 1,000 answers to, that I can talk to another developer for. Right? This is one of the things you see sometimes. A developer's getting into a new library and they ask in Discord or they ask on the forums, "Hey, has anyone ever done X before?" And no one has. So you don't have anyone, or you maybe only have one or two other devs to really bounce your questions or thoughts off of. Versus you go into one of these forums or Discords and you ask about Laravel, and all of a sudden 20 other devs are right there. 30 other devs are right there to help you along the way. So yeah. I mean, so this was the thing, like I held off learning Vue for a while because in my day job there wasn't a business need to switch away from jQuery, right? At the time, the team that I was with was very comfortable with jQuery, and we were just trying to do these rather small projects, and they were easily accomplishable with jQuery. At a certain point, though, the devs that were more familiar with jQuery left, and there was sort of like an opportunity to upgrade and change platforms. And so, I didn't want to immediately jump over to something new when I first started this job, because I wanted to make sure I could accomplish the projects using the technologies that I knew, and that's what the people that hired me, that's what the agency I worked for wanted to make sure was happening. They didn't care if I used Vue or jQuery, right? They don't care. But what became very apparent as we tried to grow our team, a lot of the younger developers that we were hiring don't know jQuery because they're not taught jQuery, right? If they look into JavaScript nowadays, they're not finding jQuery, they're finding React, they're finding Vue, they're finding Angular. And so it was like, hey, if we want to hire modern web developers, we need to use modern web tools. And then that was the business need that had us switch over, because we weren't going to hire anyone that knew jQuery. So I think we've been using jQuery, or sorry, we've been using a Vue now at our job for probably 2.5 years. It's been going very well. And the team grew from 2 or 3 to I think we're up to like 8 now. So it's been good. And so now it's like, hey, now using this, I wanted to see what we could do game wise. What sort of game can we make using the same tech stack? I prefer not to have to try to like go back to Unity or use something else. So this is where we're trying to do some free-to-play games. So again, if anyone's curious or interested, check out the Slyboot Studio. And I'm just gonna say, we are like, I'm not I'm not asking anyone. I'm not going to be asking anyone for any sort of Patreon or coffee until we actually have a game out there, right? Let us show you that this studio can produce a game, that it's fun, and then if you'd like to see the development continue, then that's the appropriate time to subscribe to the Patreon or to donate once with the coffee, and support development. It just simplifies the whole development, and it really simplifies the design of the games. One thing I really want to stay away from is where I see game developers, and it may not be the game developer's call, but they're compromising the design of their game to try to fit in the microtransactions or the purchases, right? They are purposely implementing problems such as a reduced inventory in an RPG that money can solve. If you buy this thing, then your inventory becomes bigger. And I totally understand that developers have to try to, make ends meet at the end of the day. Everyone's got to try to keep the lights on. At this moment with the studio, I'm not willing to make that compromise. I'd rather put a good game in front of you that you're going to enjoy, and hope that there's enough people that are happy with the quality of that experience that they go on to fund the development. Then I'm saying I'm going to put an inferior experience in front of you, and hopefully I can cause enough friction with that you're willing to give me money to reduce the friction. That's what I see a lot of games do nowadays. And as someone who wants to be a game developer and a storyteller, that to me does not seem like the approach I want to take. Yeah, it's a paradox in the world. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So anyway, that's been... Where are you at with your game development life cycle? Can you demo the game? That is a great question. We right now, just the last few days, we're playing around with actually taking one of our previous games or previous kind of prototypes and making it multiplayer. Can you entertain someone? Everyone needs... Yeah, sorry. Where are you at your game development life cycle? Can you demo the game? Yeah, good to be put on the spot. We have... So here, let me answer the question. Let's see. We have a single-player game. We have a single-player game that will be published by the end of the year. It's a single-player, idle, incremental game, published by the end of the year. And then what we're playing with tonight is multiplayer, where we've just had here. And let me just show. We are... Let me go back to our main screen here, because I think that... Yeah, here we go. There we go. So we are going to... Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is sort of a silly game we're doing. This game won't be done by end of year, though something I'm sure playable will be. This is going to be a game that is multiplayer, so you create an account with your email or play as guest, or I may add in the ability to sign in with Google, where you basically you could play as some sort of you could play as a regular person, but it's also sort of satirical and comically themed around raccoons and other sort of vermin and small mammals, sort of that comedy. Are you nervous or tired of both? I'm not nervous. I'm tired. It's just reached midnight. It's kind of fun. I guess I'll admit maybe a little bit nervous. This is probably the largest stream right? I had really just hopped on this to explain to Rinzai some of the thoughts we were having with Raccooth and invited in a couple other folks. So this is exciting to be able to explain to a larger audience what we're working on. Raccooth expeditions. We plan on having these sort of maps, and I'll share some of them here. And I'll try to, here, let me go ahead and make this the full screen so you guys can see the kind of the full screen maps here as it tries to load a couple. This Raccooth will be more of your traditional role play game. It will be multiplayer. You will be able to see other people. You will be able to interact, marketplace, trade, some PvP. The general idea is that you'll be going around to different islands and stuff like that. And I'm going to try to have it a bit fun with some silliness. The fact that the characters are going to be kind of woodland animals, but also dressed up as pirates. I think that sense of levity and humor will go a long way, right? There's no reason to take everything so seriously. So this is some of the mapping that we're thinking for some of our games and things like this. This kind of quality of map. Now for the art, we typically use pixel art for the characters. And that's what we were playing around with today. We had an older project that had some pixel art in it, and we were just trying to bring it over into this project and get it to work. So your character can walk around either through the keyboard or mouse, or just by clicking on the screen and your character walking to that location. Combat at the moment would probably be something like turn-based, something reminiscent of... I really enjoy something with a bit of a party, right? Something more like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy, the older, more classic Final Fantasy, where you have a party of 2 or 3 and you're choosing your different actions. Right out the gate, though, we'll probably just be doing the one person in your party. But I think there's some good opportunity. Again, these games, ideally I'm trying to cater to games I like to play, which are that many people can be AFK or idle. So you may form your party with other players, but they don't necessarily need to be online right now. They've joined your party and maybe you're controlling them. But their stats and their upgrades are something that player has decided. Does this use Canvas? Yes. So what we were planning on doing is there's a library specifically for this. Hold on just a second. Let's see. Is it paradox? Everyone needs to make money, but not everything good. Yeah, vice versa. Can you entertain someone? Yeah, without having to think digital equivalent of junk food. That's a good point, right? I guess I'm tired of the digital equivalent of junk food, and I'm willing to try to put something else out here and just try. Does this use Canvas? Yes. Our approach to using Canvas, I'm going to use the P5 library. So this is what we're going to be using here. There are specifically libraries for game development like this, like Phaser and stuff like that. We're not doing a great deal of animation, right? This isn't like a platform or something like that. I'm just trying to get an animated sprite to move across a map like this. So we have a little bit of pathfinding. We have a little bit of sprites moving around. I've done this before in Unity. So that's what we're going to try here over this nice next week, this Thanksgiving break, trying to get some of these common, I guess, kind of a proof of concept here. It'll be interesting to see what's playable here within the next week. If we can get sort of the core game in, then we have something to really kind of show off. We've been playing around with the single player idle stuff. We have some interesting party building stuff, some interesting kind of upgrade systems. But I really like, the graphics like this. I really think this helps a lot get a player immersed into a world. So like think of this map right here as sort of like a world map. There'd be little nodes or cities. You'd be able to travel to them, go in there, and then as you zoom into a location, it looks something closer to this. The game screen itself would probably be, zoomed in sort of like this, and then you'd, as your character would walk around, you'd encounter other things on the map. And yeah, it'll be an interesting experiment. A lot of idle games don't have any graphics at all, and to be honest, they don't really have good layouts. They're done by developers who can figure out how to make an online game, but aren't necessarily front-end designers or UX designers. They know about how to make the game. Hopefully they know about game balance and game design. Many of them do, some of them don't. But it's, developers usually around the age of college, where they're just trying to get something out there. I'd like to stay in that niche genre, but really kind of take up the quality, right? And so I think myself, Rinzai, we have a couple other developers that are interested in helping out. I think we can do something to this genre that you don't really see, at least as far as I'm concerned, right? To come in to the genre with a team of 3 or 4, and especially when you're bringing in some graphics and art, and it's not just watching a number go higher and higher, right? A lot of these games, you're accumulating gold, then spending gold to accumulate gold faster, and then you're spending gold to accumulate gold faster. And so, I mean, and that's fine, and it's a very popular genre, right? The incremental games subreddit is huge. People really enjoy this game loop, but I think the presentation, I'd like to try something else, and I think in what we're going to try to do with Raccooth here. Hold on, it decided to go off the screen there a little bit. What we're going to be trying to do with Raccooth is sort of blend. I really do want to cater to players who enjoy idle games and want to just have a game open in another tab while they're at school or work or something like that. Something where you can log back in the morning and see, oh, this is the loot, this is the treasure that my character accumulated while I slept. I think that's been fun for me. It's been fun for other people. But I think there's also an opportunity for something a little bit more, I don't want to say grindy, a little bit more real time that you would see in an RPG. A character going out into the wilderness for combat, a character finding loot, and being very focused on the screen, on the game, on that game session, right? You're choosing what skills to use in combat, what equipment to upgrade, what equipment to wear for this particular area that you're going to fight in, the movement of the character. And so we're going to try to blend, where the combat and maybe some of the crafting is more real time, but the gathering of resources is all idle. And so hopefully it's a bridge between these two communities, right? For people that like online games and want to be active, especially with like PvP and guilds, and then you're catering to sort of the idle and incremental people that maybe don't want to be as competitive. They just want a game that they can check into once, twice, 3 times a day and feel like their character is progressing. And then, of course, layered on top of this is my own desire to do some storytelling, right? I think that's the main thing. I do game design and game development because this is the vehicle that I use for my creative writing, for my storytelling, and things like that. So I want to make sure that there's quests and lore, and it's not required. You don't need to understand the lore, but the fact that it would be present in the game, I think, would really help, especially when you're trying to sell the idea of a online world. I think that's pretty important. So cool. Yeah, no, it's been great to talk about this for the last little while. We do have, like I said, if anyone's interested in keeping tabs on the project, right? There's the Twitch channel, there's the YouTube channel, there's our Discord. All of it can be found at the link above, slyboots.studio. Making games without any sort of microtransactions, or pay to win loot boxes, anything like that. You won't find anything. Awesome. Thank you very much for following. I'm not, you're not gonna. This is a pretty chill channel. I'm not, I'm not gonna go on any rants or anything about, the evils of that or this. Instead, I'm just a player who also has a background in game development, and I'd, like to take a crack at making some interesting games here, and really, one of the things I want to do, especially with the YouTube channel, which is why, streaming is a wonderful practice to talk to people. One of the things I really want to do is, and I've done a little bit of this, but really kind of, sorry, now I'm a little bit tired. Teach game development a little bit, right? Show people. This is why when I usually stream, I show code along with what I'm making. And one of the other things you'll read on the Slyboot Studio website is, some of the projects will be open sourced, right? For people that are curious about game development, for people that are curious about web development or application development, right? One of the reasons why we want to publish to mobile is literally just to go through the practice of, hey, this is how you would take a Vue application and go through the steps to publish a mobile app. Here, let me see, just one of our earlier games. Here, let me turn up the brightness here. Let me see if that works. Like, this is one of our games. These are all the little members of your of like the inn that you can upgrade and stuff like that. Let me see if there's a party. Yeah, this is our and I should actually hook this up so I could just stream it, but it's not plugged in right now. The stats for your character, the equipment you can upgrade. Let's see, does this do and then some of the combat where you just sort of select what you want to fight and you see the results of the fighting. This is just basically a different version of the Raccooth game. It was the single player one, and that was just a test build that we just put on the phone. I mean, we're pretty close to that. I'm really hoping to get that out in the next month here by the end of December. It'll just be a free game. It's if you're familiar with idle games, they have a prestige system where you get up to a certain point, restart the game with a bonus, play through it again, but you have this bonus now. You get up to another point, you can restart again. So, I'm gonna say if you want, I don't know, I'm hoping for whatever, 10 hours of entertainment, 20 hours. I mean, we can stretch it out there, but it's a free. It'll be a free game. You can either play on the web or play on your phone. And then Raccooth here is our experiment to try to do that same thing, but do it multiplayer with some different assets. So it'll be an interesting experiment. Oh yeah, and so that's just what the stream is. It's just this is really just practice for me. If you're you guys are developers, you're familiar with the concept of rubber ducking, right? So I think for myself and Rinzai, it really helps if we have some ideas about something, to have to actually speak it out loud, right? To actually form complete sentences with a project that you're trying to develop. And in doing so, just talking about the project, you'll find, oh, I need to think some more about that, or that's actually poorly designed. I don't know how that's going to work for the player. So streaming is just helpful for me to just kind of walk through that. It's also a wonderful way to engage with the future players. I get a lot of feedback from the folks on my Discord and on the chat as to what they like to see in the particular games. And I'm going to be honest, at the end of the day, I'm making the games for them, right? If these are the folks that are going to play it, I want to know what they'd like to see. So yeah, I think it's really awesome. Thanks guys for coming by. This has been a nice it's been a nice opportunity to talk about the game. Yeah, and so we have, I don't know, probably over the next, I don't know, what would you say, Rinzai? Probably over the next 6 months or so, we'll probably have like 3 games or so. We get each game to about the 75% mark, and then we kind of go off on another idea. Many times it's to reduce scope, right? So our first game, Pyroclasm, we started back in August. That was inspired by Mount Vesuvius. This was actually inspired by a trip I took to Italy this last summer. Mount Vesuvius and Pompeii, and I was inspired about, what would it look like if there was a civilization buried by volcanic activity, right? And in the course of the game, it was uncovered, and you discovered, loot, magic, lore, technology, etc. And the thought I had was, when I was at Vesuvius and Pompeii used to be a coastal town. It had a port. It was right on the water. But Pompeii now is actually like a mile or two away from the shore, right? So the landscape changed. So if you were told, hey, Pompeii used to be a city, it used to be on the coast, and you just wanted to go out and start looking for it, you would look where the water is now, on the coast. You wouldn't go a mile or two inland and look for it. And so it made me think, hypothetically, you could have the same sort of thing. What if Pompeii was never discovered and someone built up another city and Vesuvius exploded again and buried that one? Well, now you have like a city, right? And then another city below it, and then hypothetically another city below it. So a lot of times in these idle games, reminds me of Graham Hancock's talking about submerged civilizations, yeah. So a lot of the theme of some of these idle games, right, whether it's like RuneScape or Melvor or Ironwood or whatever, you're doing basic actions like digging or quarrying or mining, right? So I'm like, so at some point you're going to unearth one of these things, right? And so that was the idea. Yes, lost history, right? And the idea was that like the different eras would have actually different lore, different histories or whatever. They wouldn't necessarily be related. They could be 1,000 years apart. So that was pretty interesting. And so we started designing a game around that. And that was actually for the PPBG Web Jam, a game jam, but we quickly realized we were far beyond the scope of what we were capable of doing within that month. We made a great deal of progress, but then we decided to do a second game that was reduced, like we reduced the scope significantly with the hopes to one day to go back to Pyroclasm, but we wanted to focus on, getting the game out. So let's reduce scope down to what was working, right? For a moment, put anything aside that wasn't, that we weren't sure on the design, that wasn't critical, and focus on just getting a game out, getting those core systems out. And that's the game Dura that will be. I mean, I guess there's no, go ahead and follow the YouTube or follow the Twitch or whatever. I should, yeah. But I imagine maybe Dura will have we can publish a first playable probably at the beginning of December, because that's 11 days from now. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. We'll get a first playable of Dura, but we'll publish it to like the App Store a month later. And that's the idea there. That one has a slightly different story, but it is, in my mind, a precursor to Pyroclasm. It's what the adventurers are doing before they go to this world that has been, or this region that has been buried. So we have Pyroclasm, which is that Lost Histories world. We have Dura, which is coming out in the next month, and then Raccooth Expeditions. For the time being, we're just sort of going through the process of discovery for what our tech stack looks like. I got authentication here working in the last 24 hours. Now we're going through how do we want to load up a map and animate the pixels. Unlike the previous two games I mentioned, this one's going to have an actual character on the screen that's moving around, talking to NPCs and doing quests like that. So, but anyway, it is now 12:30, and I will probably be heading to bed here in a little bit. Yeah, I just wanted to start the stream to just go over the stuff with Renzai for a bit, but this has been fantastic. So, I guess I'll just say it one last time. If anyone's interested in following development, go ahead and visit the website above. You can read there. All our links are there. So feel free. We've got a Discord. There's a channel for each one of our games that we're working on. So if you wanted to see some screenshots and stuff of the various progress, we're also part of the PBBG community. So if you're familiar with that, the persistent browser-based games. There is a subreddit, but until we actually get a game closer to alpha and ready to release, I'm not gonna spend any time trying to write anything to an empty Reddit. But at some point there will be a Reddit there for sharing updates and things. And yeah, we'll just see. This isn't necessarily at the moment for profit. I think my hope, my hope is that a couple years down the line here, we have a good enough track record and reputation and portfolio of games, whether these games are launching because of a Kickstarter or just because we have enough Patreon support, that it does become full-time. And full-time not just for one person, or maybe it's part-time for a team, but that is the goal. If we can, I'm not going to say disrupt, but if we can provide an alternative to what we see so much right now as the offerings for games like this. I remember just years ago, just looking through some very basic little games, that I wanted to play while commuting or something like that. And every game, right after every single level or every single character death, is an ad. And I'm looking at these games and I'm like, these games are so simple. I could just make them. I could make them without the ads and publish them for free and take the market share away from these people that are just putting out trash, in my opinion, trash, for the sake of just like putting ads in front of people and doing that. I'm not against anyone trying to make a living, but also I am focused on, providing a good user experience to players. And what I see in front of me is not a very good user experience for players. So I think if there can be a free alternative devoid of that stuff, I think if people want to make a living with games, they should make better games. And I think a subscription model for games is fine. I think battle passes can work. I like a one-time fee for a game. I like games that if it's good enough and you want to support development, that's where it's like you could sell the expansion to the game, especially for like an RPG, or if it was a game like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering, you could sell like, I guess, access to another set. I don't like selling card packs as much as just like access to the expansion to help fund development, kind of that one-time fee. Okay, added an updated mockup. Let me check it out. Let's bring it over into the why isn't it? Hold on just a second. There it is. All right. So what do we got here? Oh, look at that. All right. Okay. Yes. Okay, so you got Rinzai level 1. So yeah, you got your name, you got your level. I like the health bars up there. You got your mana up there. Okay. And then you have the title of the quest, the objective of the quest, you have the description, you have the reward, and then the accept. I think this is an excellent mock-up. You've got all the elements in there that I was bringing up. I think this looks good. I think the gradient's fun. I think the other thing you could do is it'll be interesting once we put all the elements on the screen that we want, like what it looks like when you open up like your quest journal, what it looks like when you open up your inventory and stuff like that. Some of these other Some of these other RPGs have like that stylized border around the edge, makes it look like wood or something like that. That might be cool. I do like, yes, you added the black border around the modal, which looks great. So now you're not losing the modal to the background. This is really great. And yeah, for those curious, this is like this is like a mining site. This is like an old abandoned, like, the art set is like dwarven. You got some mine cart rails there, and then you got the camp, right? So this was a map we made. This was a map we made for Pyroclasm. This idea that we're discovering some of this ancient stuff. So, right, your party, your team is the ones in the camps, and you've discovered this ancient mine that you're now exploring. Okay, cool. I like this. Oh, good. And you did the portrait in white. Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think one of the things we'll do too is we have to find a couple good fonts for this where you can easily add that nice black border around white text, so regardless of what background it's on, it's readable. Once we get that sort of font treatment down, this will look really good. I think not to copy World of Warcraft or anything, but yeah, when we look at, we're going to try to be emulating a lot of what you would see, or rather how the UI would appear in some of those games. You know, they've gone through great lengths to solve a lot of these UI issues. So looking at them would be good. This is great. This gives me a good sense of that. Awesome. Yeah, and what's really cool too is up on the upper right, you could do like a mini map, right? Especially, right, if the desolated bear, if this map is this big, right, but you are currently like zoomed in, like here, right? But your mini map, right? Your mini map can be more like, here, let me see. Let me fit the screen. You could play around with it. I don't know how important the mini map's gonna be, but I gotta be honest, like a lot of games have some form of map. So even if you take this, like if your mini map, you know, I can't zoom out in anymore. But yeah, and then you have that little icon of where your character is and maybe where the quest, right, is. Yeah. Again, not to copy. Wow, hold on. And a list of quests you have underneath. Yeah. Well, yeah, not to copy. Hey, imitation is best form of flattery. I think we got to start. What's going on there? Was this there before? I don't. Did I mess that up just now? I don't feel like that region was there. Oh, it wasn't there. Okay, cool. I got to be careful with this tool. This is a really cool website for anyone. Yeah, I think I did something. For anyone that likes Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or things like that, this is a really cool website called Ink. It's called Incarnate, INKARNATE.com. It makes maps. So I've used this tool for years for making role-play game maps to like print out. Or, excuse me, I've been doing Dungeons and Dragons over Zoom calls for 10 years. And having this as a reference point is great. It's also got some really cool features where you can turn this into a grid, either square grid or hex grid. And now we're going to use it for a game grid. So that's really exciting. Okay, I think I need to head to bed. My mouth is getting quite dry, and this is now a 2.5 hour stream. So about 2 hours more than I thought I'd go. So thank you everyone for watching the stream. This has been an excellent night, and I hope you guys all find your way back here for the next one. I try to stream, I don't know, I try to stream about 3 times a week. I think especially now that we're making good progress on both Dura, that's wrapping up, and Raccooth, we're kicking this one off. I do imagine we'll probably be streaming every other day on some game development stuff, so if you want to see these projects come together and give them a test, that would be absolutely awesome to be part of that beta group. Your feedback would be more than welcome. So just I got the website up there. You can get a hold of us on Discord or just follow the Twitch, follow the YouTube. Anyway, I really appreciate all the followers popping in today. And Rinzai, fantastic. Thank you for the mock-ups. This is good. This will give us some good direction here for the next part. I will say this. I do like what Elden Ring did with keeping their UI very, very simple and not putting any extra elements on the screen that you really didn't need. It wasn't cluttered at all. So we may take a page out of that book, and instead, like, you could toggle on your quest log, right? But I don't know that it may need to always be on the screen, right? I think especially if we keep a mobile first design and you think, that screen is going to be pretty small. What is the most important information that needs to be on there? And what do we just update? Yeah, exactly. It's just an off canvas. So we just have a button or a key that triggers the off canvas, and that's what brings it onto the screen. But we don't need to keep it there. We just need to let people know when they've made progress on their quest. So I think we'll probably play around with the design like that, because I think WoW benefits from, well, a lot of things, but a lot of people play, their MMOs. Obviously, it's full screen, and I don't think it'll be curious. It'll be interesting to see if the people that play this game are actually playing it full screen, or if we're in a smaller screen, and if so, let's make sure we're making the best use of that screen and allowing people to actually see the map and see the game and hiding everything else. So, okay. I think I'm gonna head to bed. Thank you, everyone, and everyone have a wonderful night. Have a good weekend, and have for those of you in the U.S., you got Thanksgiving. Awesome. If you're Canadian, you've already had one, so good for you. Everyone, stay safe. See you later.